Hi everyone, and welcome to the Soul Illumination Reading for the sign of Scorpio. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot reading for Soul Illumination. So hi everyone and welcome. That's exactly what we're taking a look at in today's reading. We're looking at what your soul would most like to illuminate for you at this time. Now we're going to be diving into taking a look at a block or a challenge around that area of focus. We'll be looking at advice from Spirit as to how to overcome that block or challenge, and then we'll look at what wants to come in on the other side of that for you. Now, Scorpio, happy birthday to all of the Scorpios out there. I know that we are right in the midst of your season, so I hope you are really kind of feeling that energy. I am using some different decks for this reading than I usually do. I thought it was good to kind of change it up as we are moving into a little bit of what I like to look at as a time of darkness, but not in a bad way. Your energy tends to get us to kind of dive deep into the recesses of both our emotional self, but also into what is hidden. And I thought changing up the decks to be a little more light and bright could help us kind of see our way as we are ourselves navigating through that, the darkness of self-reflection and truth-finding. So let's go ahead here and see what else wants to come out. We have Ten of Cups and the Page of Wands coming out for your energy, Scorpio. Beautiful energy. This is the energy of someone who is feeling like there's a sense of play coming back into their life. And there's with the Ten of Cups really is that beautiful connection to what our heart yearns to experience in our lifetime. Meaning the Ten of Cups speaks to heart fulfillment. It could speak to the happy family. It can speak to just really getting in touch again with almost that kind of esoteric concept that each one of us lives with, that if this could happen, if this was to happen in my life, everything would be wonderful. Everything would feel like I'm touching heaven on earth. But there's a sense of kind of having with the Page of Wands, that sense of childlike wonder and awe and play. And for some of you, there may be a sense of actually rediscovering a talent or reconnecting emotionally to your life experience through maybe a hobby that sparks your passion. It could even be an individual who's coming into your life, and suddenly you're getting this kind of opening up the bigger picture of, oh my gosh, as I'm having fun dating this individual, I'm seeing the bigger picture for our life together. It can definitely be that. Now, with the sun in your external environment, ironically enough, this is the card of illumination, and this is what your soul is illuminating for you at this time. So when we think about the sun as the meanings of the sun card in the tarot, it speaks to illumination. It speaks to illumination of the self, meaning that, as you can see here, there's this naked child riding on the back of a horse under the rays of the sun, and there's a sense of kind of illuminating the true, free, unbridled essence that lives within each one of us. And for many of you, that could be something you are connecting with now, that there's a sense of the kind of the lights coming back on, you're reconnecting to your internal or eternal flame. You're feeling that spark again, but also feel that spark is almost like started as maybe this little candle burning, and suddenly now it's been able to light every candle down the corridor, and you're realizing, oh my gosh, I'm seeing so much more around me. And maybe in that you're seeing maybe a way forward as well, because we do have the Queen of Pentacles at the heart, or as your main underlying energy, which is dedicated focus. It's really keeping your eye on what you want to grow more of in your life. Now, these cards all can represent cards of becoming a parent as well. So for those of you who are really looking to become a parent, that could be something coming in here, because the sun also represents children. The Page of Wands and the Ten of Cups could be that you guys are, you yourself discovering that you are pregnant or someone in your life is pregnant. Queen of Pentacles is the dedicated, focused mother, the individual who knows, has the time and patience, and understands that a child takes many years to grow and be nourished. And there's that sense of that kind of unconditional focus, love, and patience that comes with the Queen of Pentacles. Now, underneath this, we have the Queen of Cups, another maternal card. This is the unconditionally loving individual. It's also a card of where we really get into that place of self-nurturing. And the Knight of Cups, beautiful energy here, the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups. There's a sense of really getting into a place of where maybe for many of you, you have gone through that Queen of Cups reflective time, meaning that you were able to provide yourself with a chance to really have that time to look at what's in your cup. And what is that cup? That cup is what holds your emotional needs, wants, dreams, all the things in your life that you need to have fulfilled, met, or need to pursue to be able to have that emotional connection to your life experience. Now, although it's an energy of a fellow water sign, Cancer, this is also very much in your wheelhouse, Scorpio. So very much sitting with your cup and really kind of, if you notice, she's holding it reverently, like she's diving deep within. And then there's a sense of coming out of this phase, of coming out of a place where you've been nurturing yourself, where you've been reflecting on what you need or want or are dreaming about to experience in your life. And you get on your horse to go out there with a sense of optimism. That's the Knight of Cups. That's the individual who's like, okay, instead of me just holding my cup and keeping it sacred, I'm ready to share that cup with others. And that could mean that you're ready to go out there to meet the love of your life. You're ready to go out there. And this can even just be, I like to look at this as the individual who's ready to go on that romantic quest. They have received notification from the king that they are to go out and do something noble, and they are ready with an open and willing heart to do so. But for many of you, this could be actually kind of going out into the world with this. It's almost like discovering, giving your time the rest period that you needed, the Queen of Cups, to get ready to go on this romantic adventure, to share of yourself vulnerably. And that might be, for some of you, landing you in a position to nurture something. This could be where maybe you went out to find the love of your life, and you did. And maybe now you're dating and it's wonderful, and there's this illumination of the self through the love of another. And maybe now you're looking at, okay, wonderful. What are we going to nurture together? Or I'm in a position now to nurture this relationship into something more. This could also be, if this is not relationship focused, this could be where maybe this is work related, where maybe you had to take some time off of work, which would be the Queen of Cups, have to kind of reassess your priorities in your life. And suddenly now you're realizing, okay, maybe I can't work at a job that makes me work a bunch of overtime, or I don't like this industry because it's too mentally draining or too stressful. But I'm going to go back out there now knowing what I need to feel good in a work environment. I'm going to go out there optimistically and hopefully to look for a new job or a new work environment that's going to be more supportive of me, and maybe also sparks something that I'm passionate about. And that can be also the illumination of the self, of realizing, oh my gosh, through finding a new job, I'm realizing, wow, I don't actually hate work. I actually love doing X, Y, and Z. And now I can get to a place where I can actually feel like I want to nurture and grow something more. This could be like getting a job opportunity that comes out of the blue that says, oh my gosh, you said you can do this. Well, how about we give you a job where that's all you do? And you're like, wait a second. I never even knew I could have a job where that's all I did, and suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, the dream has come into focus. So really positive energy for you here. Now I'm going to use my illuminated deck here just because, again, I was saying I wanted a little something lighter and brighter as we're moving through the depths of the Scorpio season. So we'll see what wants to come out. So I'm pulling cards now to take a look at what might be a block or a challenge around the area of illumination. And then we'll dive into advice from Spirit. And we'll look at what wants to come in on the other side. Okay, so we have the Three of Pentacles. Now, the Three of Pentacles is a card of collaboration. It's a card of, a future-focused vision for yourself, where you would like to grow something more. or builds something, but often it represents, you'll see 3 individuals here, represents having to come together with other people or a person who might have additional skill sets or something else that they bring to the table that will allow you to have a shared vision for the future, but really stepping into that phrase of we build it better and faster and stronger together. Now, where this can be a block is if either A, you can't get on board with others. This can be where we sometimes, there's the Five of Swords. Kind of felt that coming through. Five of Swords can be where we are trying to win at all costs. We are willing to, I like to look at it as the kind of spiritual concept of, as an adult, putting our fingers in our ears and saying, blah, 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 I don't want to hear it, I can't listen. And it can be a kind of harsh energy where we think we're defending ourselves, and yet in reality you see this individual kind of sitting all by himself as others are walking away from him. And so it's like, yes, you might have won the battle, but you did so at the cost of friendship, or at the cost of possibly, working with others, or seeing a new perspective. And so I do get the feeling that for some of you, the biggest challenge now to what is coming forward is really, we'll dive into the rest of that, is really just kind of easing, almost like allowing yourself to be open. There could be someone else in your life. I'm just going to put that here as well. Where if this was a personal reading, I could say that perhaps for some of you, the Five of Swords it's just an energy. So it could be your energy. You could be the one that's maybe fighting, getting on board with a future vision for yourself. So this would be like maybe you've been asked at work to join a new team. And even though it's something that could spark something within you or lead to something more, maybe a career advancement, you're having a hard time opening up to being on a team like that. Or maybe you have to be the one that kind of takes, a different role because someone else is taking the role that you normally take. This could also be, though, somebody else in your life. So this could be where there is a person in your life who is not getting on board with you. So this could be where you're getting all ready to go out. You're having this illumination of the self. You're getting ready to step into a place of nurturing. And there's someone else who's like, I'm not getting on board with that. And then you're like, but don't you see there's a big, and you're like, no. We're not even going to have that discussion. And we all know how very frustrating it is when we talk to somebody like that, where we really have something to share, or we want to have that conversation that opens us up to the future or change, and somebody just shuts us down, won't even open that door, might even walk away. And this could be for some of you talking about children and family. This could be where, maybe some of you are like, I want to have children, or we're ready for it. Everything is all set. I see now that through the love I have with you, we're ready to start that family and expand. And maybe it's time to, take a look at buying that house we've been saving for. And someone else is like, no, the interest rates are too high. Let's just not even go there. And you're like, but let's just have the bigger picture talk of like, okay, maybe the interest rates are high today, but what about next year? Maybe we have a 6-month plan or a year plan. And let's talk about having kids. And the person's like, no, what did I just say? I just said we're not going to have that discussion. And I don't know why it's coming across so bluntly like that. So again, if this is you, Scorpio, try to take a look. Try to lean more into this Page of Wands energy, which is a childlike curiosity. It's really looking at what feels like play to kind of help get through that. Or if this is someone else in your life, what I can say is what Spirit is asking you to really embrace here, which is the King of Cups energy. That is you. This is your card in the tarot. So there you are. It's asking you to embrace the best and highest parts of what the King of Cups represents, which is emotional maturity and strength, really leading from your feelings, from your emotions. Now, the thing with the King of Cups is that sometimes he can come across as almost stoic or unemotional because he is so fixed, because you are a fixed water sign, Scorpio. There's a sense of stillness and a fixed energy of kind of being in the depths at all times, in that emotional state that he doesn't need to kind of fly off the handle and have this crazy over the top emotional experience. There's a sense, or, emotional expression. There's a sense that he can kind of just feel, and then he's able to make decisions based on what he's feeling because he trusts those feelings. But he does so in a responsible way, meaning that kings are the heads of their kingdoms. And so usually the choices they make and how they lead is in a way always responsible for others. And that's really what you're being asked to embrace, is that emotional maturity, that deep tie to your emotions, which is definitely telling you something here of a bigger vision for yourself of what you would like to nurture. And it might be that in order to kind of break through the Five of Swords energy, which might be you, if this is you, where you're kind of like fighting something, making a change or joining a team or getting on board with someone to really take a look at the bigger picture for what you're working towards. This would be like saying, get into your feels, get into the place that you're very comfortable with, Scorpio. And what do your feelings tell you? And when we get to that place of kind of trusting our feelings, trusting our emotions, we kind of move out of the head and we're able to communicate from that heart-based place. Now, if this is someone else in your life, I can say, who's the Five of Swords energy, someone else is resistant, the King of Cups is going to allow you to keep a cool head. It's going to allow you to, again, the emotional maturity coming through. So someone where you, let's say, are joining a new team and they're the ones who are combative. Maybe you have a great idea. You're the one that's super inspired. You see this beautiful vision of how happy everybody could be, in the workplace or wherever you are. And this other person's like, yeah, no, that's a stupid idea. Or we don't do, this would be like somebody says, well, we just don't do that here. That's just not the way things are done. And you're like, okay, take a deep breath. I'm going to go into my emotional maturity stance, and I'm not going to react on the same level as this individual. Instead, I'm going to react from that deep intuitive knowing, and I'm going to come across as someone who is going to lead from a place of example. That's the other thing with the King of Cups, is that this can represent the unconditional loving father, just like the Queen of Cups can represent the unconditional loving mother. So there's a sense of really a divine partnership here between possibly Cancer energy and Scorpio, if there's a Cancer in your life. But this can also be where you are kind of blending two halves of yourself, the feminine and the masculine, and are able to come from a fulfilled place of self-nurture, but also being able to take action from what you feel. And that's what's going to lead you onto the other side of this, which is what wants to come in for you. Now we have the moon, which is another card of Cancer here. Sometimes people like to say it represents Pisces, but when we think of the moon, that really is Cancerian energy. I would say for many of you, there's a sense here of, this does say that the way might be unclear. When the moon comes up, it says that we're being kind of called intuitively out of a comfort zone, and we're being asked if we can walk a path on faith. And yet, because everything is in moonlight, it's shadowy. We can't see. And there's a sense here of almost going into the depths of your emotions to find the light within, to light the way forward through faith. And I know that theme keeps coming up quite a bit, but specifically for you, Scorpio, there's a sense here of when starting something new or trying to build something for the greater, trying to have that blueprint for what you're working towards. But there is a sense here that the way is unclear. And it might be that that's why it's being hard to get somebody on board, whether it's yourself or someone else, because it's like saying, well, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen in 6 months. We don't know if the interest rates are going to go down. We don't know if I'm going to actually get a new job when I leave this other, position. It's kind of one of those things. But on the other side of that, we have the Fool with the Eight of Swords. So many of you are looking to make a leap into something new. That's the Fool. And often we hold ourselves up from taking that leap of faith because of the moon in the middle, because we're feeling that call. We know it's time to move to a new job. We know it's time to make a new growth move in our life, whether it's to move to a new house, whether it's to start a family, whether it's to retire, whatever it is, we know, we feel. It's like, okay, I'm trusting my intuition and it's saying it's time. But yet with the Eight of Swords, there's a sense here of not wanting to see something. The Eight of Swords comes in when we are trying to find a way. We're trying to think of a way for us to be able to do this. And we just can't. We're just stuck. This is stuck energy of I can't see. But what it really does speak to is when we feel stuck like this, because the individual is usually shown with blindfold on and just their arms tied up, but their legs are free. So there's a sense of being able to just take one baby step at a time to move out of a place where you feel trapped, constrained, or without the inability to see clearly. And that first step might, when we think about leaping off of a cliff, like the Fool card always represents, there's that sense of that first step, might be a doozy. It might feel like, holy crap, I thought I was taking, and excuse my language, I thought I was taking one step just forward, and instead I'm literally taking one step off over a cliff with full faith that somehow this is all going to work out. And yet, as you do that, this could be like where you suddenly are like, okay, because you do have your secondary underlying energy is Eight of Cups, meaning that really is when we feel called to walk away from something that we have poured a lot of our emotional time and energy and investment into, and we realize it's just not fulfilling anymore. It's no longer emotionally supportive, and so it's time for us to walk away from that. So there's a sense here of really having to kind of take that leap of faith, and yet that leap of faith is what actually leads you into the place of illumination. So this could be where you are like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can take that leap towards having kids. That's a complete life change, but there's a sense of, but I'm feeling called to it. And I know that right now in my life, I understand that at this point there's a way of life that is no longer, supportive of me. This could be like realizing, I used to have the life where I'd go out to the bars every day after work and hang out with everybody and drink it up and, go on my vacations whenever I wanted. But now I realize it's just not doing it for me. It's not fulfilling. And I'm looking for something more. My soul, my emotions are telling me intuitively it's time for spiritual growth. That's what really, this is what's the level of abundance is coming in. It's spiritual growth and a further opening up and illumination of who you are. So let's dive a little deeper. I'm going to pull some clarifiers here. Now, this could be the same thing with work. This could be like you just finally got fed up with your work environment. Queen of Cups, you took the time to self-care. And you realize, oh my gosh, I just, I've tried to fight it, but there's no way that I can get on board with continuing to, work with these people in a job where no one cares to hear my ideas or no one cares to listen, or I'm just met constantly with someone, who's a little, frustrating to work with. And this is saying, okay, so now I know it's time for me to take the leap. And it's almost like maybe you tried to think of every way possible out of leaving a place of work, and then you realize that you walk in one day and you're like, I just had to put in my notice. And that first step out of the Eight of Swords is that big fall, right? It's like you leave feeling good for a second, and then you go, holy cow, what did I just do? How am I going to make money? What am I going to do? And it's almost like, but by doing that, it's opening you up to so much more. And that first step might feel like the bottom's dropping out from underneath you, but in reality, it's freeing you to be able to go on this romantic quest of illuminating the self, or further illuminating the self, and going out there in pursuit in the quest of the Ten of Cups. Okay, so let's see what's going on with this Three of Pentacles. What is this collaboration or future focused goal? Okay, Nine of Cups. Yeah, that's a heart's wish. So yeah, this is, for many of you, it could be, always, cups represent emotions, but this can be applied to any aspect of your life. Heart's dream doesn't have to just be towards, a romantic partnership or home and family. It can also be that maybe your heart's dream is to see the company you work for, hit a specific level, or the dream is that you want to be the CEO, or the dream is that you become you work for an international based company, and you realize that no matter how much you work with your current place of work, that's just never going to happen. Or you want to make an X amount of money or something like that. Now with the Seven of Wands and the Nine of Cups, there's a sense here of getting to a place of defending your right to take action towards what your heart is yearning for. And I think that that's really where, for those of you who can get into the King of Cups energy, where if this is more, let's say, trying to get everybody on board with the family for, the next phase in your family's growth cycle, this could be something where it's really getting to that place of speaking from why you want to take action, speaking from because this is a deep dream of mine to accomplish. So there you have the Three of Pentacles clarifying the Five of Swords. So yeah, there's definitely here someone who is fighting getting on board with a plan, or fighting collaborating or working in a team. And yet one person here is very much in a place of, but this is the dream. This is what I yearn for. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. And then we have the Ten of Wands. So I think whoever this individual is, or whoever's coming in with this energy of the Five of Swords, there's something around feeling like they are the ones that would have to do all the work if they agreed to this. Because the Ten of Wands speaks to a burden long carried by the individual themselves, meaning that there was no one there to share the load with them. So that could be you, where you're like, last time I did this and I got on board in a group setting, I had to do all the work. So no, I'm not going to say, yes, let's bring on this new initiative, or, something like that. Because my dream is to not work 30 extra hours of overtime. Or this could be where someone maybe in the past, maybe in another relationship, felt like they were the ones that had to carry the full burden of that past relationship. And so now, and looking to the future, they're like, I just can't do that. Or it could be something where, let's say if you're looking to have kids and expand your family and buy the house and all of that, this could be something where somebody's like, yeah, but I can't have a child and work and be responsible for cleaning the house. And so why, if I have to do it all alone, why would I say yes to that? And I think what's interesting about that is that for many of you, there's definitely someone else in the picture here who can share the burden. And the Ten of Wands does speak to also the closing out of a cycle, saying that you've carried that burden long enough. You've learned the lesson that we can't carry burdens all alone. And eventually you have to put down those burdens, and what you pick up, which is here's the Page of Wands, that individual finally puts down those 10 wands and then is like, wait a second, I can just pick up one wand. Page of Wands. And I can move forward, lighter load, with just what really sparks my interest and piques my passion. And I can bring that to the table with the Three of Pentacles. So there's a sense here of being able to break through this kind of Five of Swords energy in putting down whatever burden you feel, or the fear of the burden that you might feel. This could be, again, like in the workplace, where somebody comes in and says, we would love to make you a team leader in this new portion of the company. We think you'd be wonderful. You're going to have a team working below you. And you're like, okay, same thing, Seven of Wands, Nine of Cups, where you then have to state to your boss, you're like, yes, but the last time, I was put in charge of something, I didn't get any extra money, and I also, had to work a bunch of overtime, and my dream now is to be more focused on my family. And that might be just in you communicating from how you're feeling openly about your Nine of Cups, that can break through this. And your boss might say, oh my gosh, no, you misunderstood me. We are not saying that you have to work 20 extra hours of overtime. In fact, we are going to give you that raise, and we are going to provide you actually with the resources to bring on 4 extra people, which has never been done in the history of the company, so that you can have them do all of the work. There's something like that here where it's like, I think you are presupposing, or another person, if this is reversed, is presupposing the ten of Wands, meaning that they have to carry it all themselves. And in reality, there's a way to work through that, through expressing what you love and support and what you're working towards more of in your life, what is more emotionally supportive. And that will actually bring in a different response than if you just say, no, I can't do that. You know what I mean? You're giving the emotional why. And that is one thing I've learned in life more than anything, is that when we come from a place of providing a why based from what we are truly feeling, and give that why, that heart-centered why, that's what breaks barriers. That's what breaks down people's walls. That's what actually breaks through the Five of Swords, because suddenly we're realizing, oh my gosh, this would be like your boss realizing, oh my gosh, I can't believe you'd ever think that. And they might not have even been aware that before you felt like you were overburdened and underpaid, one of those things. They might say, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing. Not only are we going to make sure that doesn't happen to you again, but we're also going to make sure now that we look at the person who's taking your role is not met with those same challenges. Sometimes they can actually enact greater change and we don't even realize it. So now we have the Queen of Swords and the Three of Swords. Yeah, there's definitely a sense here of really looking at the heartbreak and pain of the past. But with the Queen of Swords, there's this beautiful understanding that she knows her story. She knows what she's been through. She knows what she's survived and what she's overcome. And she understands how much stronger she is because of that. That yes, she might have endured heartbreak and pain, or whatever the challenging circumstances around the Three of Swords was, but she also understands now that all allowed her to see herself more clearly, that it made her stronger in the end because she did survive them. And that now, when you get clear on your story and you start to speak from that empowered place, you can start then to, once the mind is kind of on board, you can then dive deep into your emotions. And that's what's going to help you keep that emotional maturity and stability, saying, I've been through it, I've seen it all, and I know we can get through this together. I survived this the last time, or we survived this the last time, and trust me, we can do it again. Now with the Moon card, we have the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles can be the juggling of our day-to-day tasks. And we have the Two of Wands. Ooh, yeah. Two cards that each are the number 2 here, which represent a decision needs to be made. Now, the Moon says, yeah, the way is unclear. But what I do not see here is the Two of Swords, which is interesting. Now, the Two of Swords is when we can't see a decision to be made. We're sitting there trying to say, is this way better or this way better? And that's not here. Now, the Moon kind of represents that lack of clarity, but it, in this case, means more that I think for some of you, you just almost don't know. It's like feeling the call towards something, but you're not quite sure what that is. And yet with Two of Wands and Two of Pentacles is asking you, can you do something differently in your day-to-day routine? Can you prioritize one pentacle versus juggling both? Two of Wands, where do I go from here? And how can I do something differently? Making the choice to act differently, to take different actions this time around. And this might mean that this time I'm going to change up my day-to-day routine, or I'm going to make the choice to prioritize one pentacle over another. So this could be like where you've been trying to juggle everything. This is the person who's like, yeah, I want to have children, or maybe you've already have children and you're like, yeah, I'm taking care of the kids and I'm working and I'm doing everything else that goes with, maintaining our day-to-day life. And this says, instead of, again, doing it the way you did it last time, which got you to the Ten of Wands place, saying this time, I'm going to change that up. This time I'm going to take action differently, and I'm going to make sure that I'm not the one that does it all. I'm going to make sure that, I employ somebody who comes in once a week to clean my house instead of trying to put that on my shoulders. Or I'm going to make sure that this time I, again, don't overwork myself so that I have more time to meet my personal needs. There's definitely, it's almost like finding the light in the darkness through making the decision to change your routine and to focus, because the Queen of Pentacles focuses on one pentacle. She has chosen one. You can continue to balance, to juggle two pentacles, but the thing is, it's very hard to get from the 2 to the 3 if you do not choose one pentacle to say, okay, this is what we're building on. This is what we're focused on. Instead, you kind of are just maintaining the status quo. It's kind of like, sitting there treading water. King of Wands for the Fool and the 8 of Swords. King of Wands says, step into your passion. Let your fire come through. Yep. There's the 3 of Wands. Love it. Threes are a card of opportunity. 3 of Pentacles, the opportunity of starting to build something with a new focus. 3 of Wands, the opportunity of something coming in based on the decision, the action you took in the 2 of Wands. The 2 of Wands is, which way do I go from here? How can I make it, how can I act differently? And the 3 of Wands says, based on that decision, it's presented new opportunities coming in for you. Same with going from the 2 of Pentacles to the 3 of Pentacles. The 2 of Pentacles is I'm just juggling. Once you decide on focusing on one pentacle instead of juggling both, then suddenly you're realizing, okay, if I'm going to focus on this one pentacle, then what is the future goal for this pentacle? Queen of Pentacles. And who can I come in to have help me focus on this pentacle? Because I might now need to have put down the other pentacle, and I might need somebody to come in as part of this plan to take care of the other pentacle for me. You can look at it that way. Now, 3 of Wands and King of Wands. This says by stepping into what you are fully passionate about and by leading from that place, having the courage to do so, that's what's going to draw towards you new opportunities. King of Wands can also be a Leo, a card of Leo. So you might actually be bringing in towards you a Leo or a business owner, because the King of Wands can actually be someone who is the fiery, passionate CEO, the person who is kind of like the idea maker behind any big company. So for some of you, you could be leaping off into that for yourself. You could be leaping off into a new business, because obviously you're looking at collaboration. You could be, again, leaping off into becoming, as opportunities here, maybe stepping into that role within your company. It could be stepping up into that role within your home life as well, where you are becoming the individual who is leading from what they're passionate about. It could be also that you're bringing towards you someone who embodies this energy. It could even be a romantic partner who says, okay, let's do it. Like you leap off the cliff and you fall right into the path of someone who's like, yeah, let's take your passion and run with it. Beautiful energy. Okay, so I'm going to pull a final card here to close your reading, Scorpio. So let's see what wants to come in. Now, the third underlying energy for your reading here is the 5 of Cups. And the 5 of Cups asks you to really take a look at, this is where you went through a time that was very emotionally disappointing. The 3 of Cups can represent a lost friend group, a feeling of being outside of a community, or it could just be where you had invested your time in something and it just became emotionally upsetting or disappointing to you. It didn't work out. And yet there's 2 additional cups here out of the 5 of Cups that are usually represented by the 2 cups being upright behind the person, which they're not looking at or don't seem to notice as they're looking at the cups that have spilled. So there's always a sense that there is always someone there who has your back. There's the 2 of Cups there waiting, support, whether it's the support of, this could almost be like, yes, maybe in a past relationship it was disappointing and you felt that you didn't have that support. And yet now this is a reminder that now you might have that support. You and your partner might be facing a change of life that seems very scary, and yet there is that reminder that you guys can fall back on each other. There's also a sense too for some of you as you're reviewing kind of the pain of the past or a disappointing experience, you might actually realize, oh my gosh, I did have support. Yes, I was so focused on the job that I lost or the relationship that I lost, but yet I was able to fall back on my friends who were there for me. And, I was able to get through it. And there's a sense of like really being able to see that you've gone through it before. You've gone through a difficult situation before that you did have to probably walk away from. 8 of Cups. That was disappointing. And it's time now to realize you survived it there. What lesson did you learn about, carrying a burden yourself, and how in this time around can you make the situation or the opportunity for growth fit the dream you have in your heart? Not to shy away from it because you're afraid, but to emotionally connect with it. It's almost like emotionally surrendering to it in a way. Like, okay, if this is the opportunity that's come in, then what do I need to know about myself to understand? What do I need to know about myself as I move forward? And knowing most of the time what comes into our life experience and how much fulfillment we get out of it comes from our connection to ourself, what we bring to the situation, what we're willing to work with, what we're willing to express. Now, I love that you have here as your final card, Cosmic Heart, Cosmic Christ, number 27, breaking down to the number 9. Number 9 is the number of wisdom. It's the number of, I like to look at it as a number of magic, actually, but there's a sense of the number 9 of having almost that connection to universal wisdom, of learning all the lessons before you start a new cycle. And whether or not you believe in Jesus Christ, there's a sense here of embodying that energy that comes with the concept of Jesus as a person, that he was able to conquer the most difficult situations, and to a certain extent was part of what helped to bring about the fall of the Roman Empire through love and through his passion. But what it was is that he fearlessly expressed his passion, and that's the King of Wands. This is the fearless expression of passion, and that's what brought in, he was able to change hearts and minds of people even through to this day through coming from that place. So keep that in mind, that sometimes we think we don't have a way to break through to somebody or power to change our situation, and yet you might be able to change a situation at work by simply just expressing from that place of heartfelt, emotional-led passion, or expressing it to someone in your life. This could even be where you're just expressing to someone in your life that you need help. And here's why, because this is the vision for, this is what my heart yearns for, and this is my vision for future happiness. And by opening up on that level to someone else, that could be a game changer, and your whole life could change. Okay, so let's see here. It says, you are elevating your vibration towards a frequency of limitless supply and unconditional love. Spiritually, you are reaching for a high level of attainment. Past pain and self-defeating behaviors shall no longer have a place in your heart. Christ consciousness is an expression of divine love that comes straight from the universal heart. It triggers a transmutation, an evolution so absolute that we are irrevocably changed. We increasingly become an embodied expression of pure divine will and an unwavering expression of divine love for all who are in need. This process takes lifetimes to complete. As you proceed, you will receive countless blessings to support your journey and fulfill your sole purpose of serving love. There will also be tests. These give the spirit a chance to develop mastery. There will be tests of forgiveness. It is easier to forgive when you don't harbor resentment at natural limitations, which is like being angry at the sun for not shining at night. Natural laws prevail, so whether we are speaking of the sun, a child, or ourselves as we grow, compassion allows forgiveness to flow more easily. There will also be tests of power. As you grow, you will become more powerful. You can use that power to help or hinder others, to manipulate them through fear or encourage them with love. You can nurture yourself on your path, or you can relentlessly criticize yourself for your errors. You can claim your power comes from some superiority you possess, or you can see yourself as a surrendered vehicle, animated in purposeful action through the grace of the divine. You may feel that you need to sacrifice yourself for others, but you are just as much in need of love as any other being on this planet. When you are full and overflowing, what you share with others can enhance you and them. It is not a choice between what nurtures you and what nurtures them, or what nurtures others, as if though those were competing needs. In the realm of the Christ, what nurtures you is actually nurturing for all. So keep that in mind. That really is coming through here with the Seven of Wands and the Knight of Cups. Expressing what nurtures you is actually, as I was kind of giving that workplace example, could actually benefit others in making someone be aware of something that wasn't nurturing. It says, when you are feeling diminished or drained, you have been pulled out of the higher frequencies of peace and kindness to yourself, become trapped in unforgiveness or power games, or seduced by the lesser truths of another, rather than the truth of your own heart. Christ calls to you now to receive his love for you and to allow your own heart to feel the grace and healing of his. To feel the grace and healing of this. It can be a challenge to learn to love another in a way that does not harm you. Perhaps you learned that love was about making yourself less in order to help another feel like more. This is not love, nor is it consciously chosen sacrifice. It is a heart acting out of its scars from the past. Your heart deserves to experience real love. As you gently claim this for yourself, you will find much strength within, much respect for yourself, and a willingness to receive much good in your life. It is time for you to embrace the higher expression of the Christ love within you. You have as much right to experience love, respect, and forgiveness as another. Sharing love in any way brings you closer to your spiritual mission this lifetime. It also attracts prosperity and abundance. Let the love in. You do not have to suffer to grow now. You just need to let love flow. Beautiful. Beautiful energy, Scorpio. And I think that's really all you're being asked to do, is to really find that love deep in the darkness and to allow it to shine, to have the courage to speak from that place, to allow it to lead you through the darkness and into the next phase as you take that leap. And that leap is into the illumination of the self. Absolutely wonderful. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, Scorpio. If you'd like to book your own personal reading where you take a look at what your soul would most like you to know at this time, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I will see you all in your next illumination reading. Bye, Scorpio.